Lori. Some Lori? Is there Lori? Okay. Great. All right, welcome everyone. So I'm Diana. We all have a beautiful yin yoga class today where we get to experience our bodies and drop down into our heart from the crazy monkey mind. And we just get to be ourselves and to love ourselves and to share this love and compassion into the world. Because as we all kind of heard about events yesterday and today, things are developing in the wrong direction in Europe, and it's very close to my heart because Ukraine and Crimea are very close to my country of Romania. So it's a part, northern part of the Black Sea is Crimea, and I'm at the southern part of the Black Sea. And I just was there in the summer, so my mom and my brother, and it's just really sad to know that this is happening. So I want to share this energy of all of you, if you're willing to kind of create a peaceful meditation where we can find peace in ourselves and then we can express it into the world. And maybe it becomes contagious. Maybe we can send it all the way to Europe. So let's start sitting, please. If anybody has any questions or comments or before we start, this is a good time. And everybody okay and settled in? Great. Okay, if I don't hear anything, that means we're good. So sit comfortably. Maybe you want to sit on your bolster to lift up your sit bones a little bit so we can have the spine nicely lengthened and our shoulders. Let's bring them up a little bit, squeeze the tension out and exhale, roll them back and down. Opening the chest, expanding our rib cage. Just feeling our energy of openness. As we do this, we start to lengthen the back of the neck by slightly tucking the chin down. Closing the eyes, focusing between the eyebrow. Connect with your breath. And let's find ourselves in the breath itself. Noticing the inhale, how it nourishes your body. Noticing how the rib cage, diaphragm, and lungs expand. Have a little pause at the end of the inhalation. And then go ahead and exhale smoothly and softly, squeezing the navel to the spine, releasing all the stagnant air out of the lungs. Squeeze a bit more and hold. And then your lungs want to breathe in again. Allow that breath to come into your body. Create space, chest lifts, diaphragm expands. Hold it at the top. And when you're ready, exhale, exhale, exhale. Good. Continue to breathe on your own. And let's bring now these breaths directly into the heart center. Imagine that you breathe into your heart. Imagine the 4 chambers of your heart, 2 ventricles at the bottom, 2 atria at the top. Atrium is like the entrance in our house, the entrance in the heart center. This is where we get the arterial blood flow, the oxygenated blood, the energy of life. And at the bottom of the heart, we have the ventricles that release out the deoxygenated blood through the venous blood supply. So imagining this influx and outflux of life force through us. And also imagine how every time we breathe, the heart chambers expand, becoming bigger and wider and larger and more light. Imagine how you can infuse this white, bright, light energy into your heart. With each breath in, you expand this light through the heart. All these little chambers fill in, then expanding outward out of your heart into the whole body, nourishing and vibrating through all the body cells. Then expanding outside of your body into your aura, into your room, your house, your town, your whole country, and into the world, over the oceans and the seas. Because the earth, just like our body, is 72% water. So through water, everything can travel. It's very fluid, it's always flowing, it's always changing. That's why they say you cannot step into the same river twice. It's water, it's always refreshing itself. And we can also refresh our minds and hearts, being 70% body of water, just like our Mother Earth, with 70% of water in the oceans and seas and clouds and sky. And let's bring a gentle, kind prayer into our heart for peace and harmony in the world. And that only starts with ourselves. Let's bring peace, calm, and ease into our body, minds, and spirits as we practice this yoga today. Remembering to stay focused into the body, into what feels right in a moment, adjusting as we need to. Breathing, releasing, staying focused to the breath, to our intention of peace, comfort, and ease, and flow. And let's thank ourselves for being here and practicing this yoga and this meditation, and let's send it out into the world. Bring the hands together, the heart, being grateful for what we have, and dedicate this practice to kindness, harmony, and compassion in the world. And at this point, let's go ahead and turn around and get close to our wall. So we will be leaning onto our right side, and then we will bring those legs up. Whoa. So come in really close to the wall here, and then swing the legs up. And maybe when you got there, you can scooch a little bit more. If your back needs a little bit more cushioning, bring that blanket under your sits bones, under your low back rather, and see if that helps. So this first pose is really simple. It's called Viparina Karani, which means legs up the wall. Bring the arms out to the side. Connecting to the breath. And intentionally bringing each breath to the navel point or below. So we imagine we breathe into the pranic center, which is the center of energy or chi we can create and store, below the navel, about 2 fingers below your navel. Imagine breathing in this area. Storing some energy in this navel center. Let me see if I can mute you all, because we have an excited puppy over there. And notice that your belly lifts up as you inhale. And as you exhale, squeeze the navel to the spine, just really allowing all this stagnant air and supply to be released out of the body. And notice how much more air you can take in next time. The more energy we release out, the more energy we can bring in. So squeezing the belly again. See how you feel. Hold a little bit at the top. And then release all the air out. Good. So we're controlling the breath here to help us be more energized, more relaxed, more free of tension. And to send this energy into the hips and groin, because you're dropping all this energy from the lower legs into the hips and down into the earth. We're inversing the blood flow, the meridian flow as well, allowing those veins to open up due to stagnation and postures at the sitting desk and driving. Our lower legs and extremities get less blood supply. And sometimes we end up with cold extremities because of that, or prolapsed vein and varicose veins and stuff like that. So this is a good practice to have daily. At nighttime, it's ideal because it does help you to relax in such a way that it provides a good opportunity for good sleep. Continue to stay connected with the breath, slow, long, and deep. And we will accentuate the exhalations, increase them by 2 counts. Maybe you get to inhale for 4, have a pause for 2 counts, and then exhale for 6. As we lengthen the exhalation, we get to relax the nervous system. We get to turn the parasympathetic response on, getting away from the fight and flight response or freeze into this rest and digest mode and sleep mode. We don't want to sleep just yet, but we want to calm down enough. Now let's bring the arms out to the side in a T with the palms facing down. We're activating the arms and shoulders a little bit. And as you inhale, go ahead and exhale as you turn the head to the right. Just a gentle stretch of our neck here. Inhale, bring the head back to center. And exhale, turn it to the left. Gaze over your left shoulder. Take about 3 connected, slow, deep breaths here. Getting some more energy into the right side of the neck, into those scalenes and vagus nerve. Releasing any tension through the out breath. Inhale, happiness and peace and joy. Exhale, tension, stress, negative emotions. Inhale, bring the head back to center. And now let's move the arms really gently. We're going to slide the palms down until they come to the sides of the body. And then inhale, slide them back up as far as you'd like to feel the openness in the deltoid and shoulder joint. And exhale, slide them down. It's like you're creating a snow angel. Just very slow, nice and gentle movement. Exploring into the arm and shoulder. Breathing in as you slide up. Breathing out as you slide down. Stay connected with the breath and flow with this movement. Imagine you have wings and your arms become really light like feathers. Lightness in the shoulders, in the wrists. Bring the arms back into a T with the palms up. And let's bend the elbows in a 90 degree. So we'll let the arms fall towards the ground. Sometimes they don't touch the ground. That's okay. Just let them figure out how to open here. So you look like a cactus in the desert, looking from above. And notice where your attention is attracted to first. You may feel more intense sensation in one single area in the body, maybe into the back shoulder on the right, or the front of your shoulder on your left, whatever that may be. Just bring your keen attention and the energy of the breath to that area. And see how you can change that area. You can transmute the energy, you can transform it, you can bring it to the other side. From stress and tension to openness and release. The combination of mind intention and breath energy is very powerful. We can use this to get us out of stress, of tension, of anxiety, of negative emotions. We just have to catch ourselves there, and we feel like we don't like it. We don't like what we experience, and we know immediately that we can change it. So use your breath awareness and your mind intention. Allow that shoulder or arm or deltoid to release, soften through the out breath. 2 more breaths here. Softening, not resisting, allowing and surrendering. Release the arms down to the sides. And let's circle our ankles. Bring the left leg out towards you a little bit. And let's point and flex the foot a few times. And then let's create a circle. Outside direction. And then the other direction. Good. Release that and go ahead and move the other leg out towards you. And point and flex. And then go ahead and circle the ankle outwards 5 or 6 times. And then inward. Great. Release that leg down. Now we will drop down into Baddha Konasana, the bound angle pose. So we'll be as close as we can to the wall with our sits bones. Bring the feet together, soles of the feet touching, and slide them down. So we're going to open our groin, our hip flexors, and we stretch the outer area of the hips and pelvic floor. We also open our lumbar spine from L2 to L5. We can rest the hands on our inner knees if we want to open them more, putting some weight. Or you can rest the arms to the side, or one on the belly and one on the heart. See what feels good, what you resonate with right now. Bring those long, deep, intentional breaths into the body, into the heart, into the pranic center. Infusing, storing this great energy of life in your navel area. So in this lower belly is where the prana is stored. And every time we breathe, we can imagine we are storing energy in this area so we can use it later. This is also called Qi, gathering Qi, building up Qi in the body. Qi means simply energy of life. If anything feels too tight, too tense, make sure you back off. This is a gentle practice. It's ahimsa, it's nonviolence, loving kindness, and compassion, practicing towards yourself. Because only when we love and respect ourselves, we can love and respect each other. As we drop from our monkey mind into the heart, we too find more peace, more comfort, more connection, of course, with ourselves, with our true self. And from that center, we can also relate to others in a more meaningful and compassionate way. So let's always remember to come back to our center, to the truth of who we are deep inside. Away from the ego, from the comparison, from the competition. Just being ourselves, coming back home. Two more breaths here. Surrender, release, relax with a longer exhalation. Soften, let go, release, unwind. Sink deeper. Deeper into the breath, deeper into the earth. And now we'll go ahead and create our next pose. We're going to have an open straddle on the wall. So make sure you're again close to the wall. We'll open the legs as wide as is comfortable for us. And let those toes hang out to the side. If you feel any tension too much into the outer hips, you may need those little blocks or blankets under your sides of your hips here to help you protect those hinges. But it's a good opening into the inner thigh and hip flexors. It does activate the hamstrings, which is also the pathway for the sciatic nerve. And let's go ahead and bring the arms up overhead, bending the elbows like a diamond shape around our head. The fingertips touch above the head like a diamond shape, with index and thumb touching. And we bring this diamond above the head. Allowing those shoulders to release again. Soften the face, the neck, the throat. Closing the eyes, bring the attention between the eyebrows. Connecting deeper into the intuition, inspiration, and concentration point, the Ajna chakra. Imagine this area of amethyst color, like an amethyst cave you can walk into and drop down into its depths, dropping into your inner self, walking through this cave, deep inside your heart, dropping from your mind into your heart, connecting those two centers. As these two centers resonate at the same frequency, we are at peace. We experience comfort and joy and ease in our life. When we are conflicted, of course, we struggle. The mind pulls us in one direction, the heart something else. We can never be at peace that way. So let's bring the head to bow to the heart. The heart is always our truth. It's always our light, our guiding light. So let's bow our heads to our own hearts. Release any tension through the out breath, softening through the jaw, the muscles of the face, muscles between the eyebrows, those creases disappear, and no wrinkles on your forehead. Temples release, the back of the head, back of the neck. Great. Notice how it feels to be this open and this vulnerable, but also notice the freedom behind all of that. You are free, you are serene, you are peaceful, you are divine. Divine power flows through our veins. Let's not forget that. One more long release through the out breath. And let's gently bring the legs back up. We're going to bend the left knee towards us, squeezing in next to the body, a little bit towards the outside of the rib cage. Take a deep breath, exhale, let it go. And place that left foot onto the wall. And we'll bring the right leg towards the left knee. So maybe we can bring it on top of the knee. Give that hip a little chance to release. So bring it in and out a couple of times. And see if that ankle wants to cross over the knee to create a figure 4 in this area of the body. It's like an inverse pigeon, the easy version of the pigeon pose. So we're opening into the right side of the hip on the outside, the piriformis, the TFL, the base of the pelvic floor, detensing that pelvic area that sits onto our chair for much too long sometimes. And now let's go ahead and bring the left arm out to the side with the palm down and bring your gaze over the left shoulder, looking at your fingertips. Deepen and soften the breath. Release, relax, surrender. So if you need a deeper stretch, walk that left foot down the wall a bit more so you create more of a 90-degree angle at that left knee. If it's too much, walk the foot up a bit. So find your edge. You want to have a comfortable, gentle edge where you can hold for a bit. This is our chance to practice loving kindness and compassion towards ourselves. No striving, no surviving here. We are thriving, we're exploring, we're releasing, we're activating. We're coming back home. This is the purpose of the Yin Yoga, to come into our body, to embody our presence, to be here now with each experience. No matter if it's maybe negative, it's still part of life. When we resist anything that we don't like, we actually give it more power. So let's learn to rather flow with ease than to resist. It's like flowing against the current or swimming against the current, and that's so much harder. We waste so much more energy when we resist life. 2 more breaths here, dear ones, and we'll gently start to move the head back in. Bring it to the right a little bit, see how the left side feels. And then inhale, bring it back to center. Release that right leg. Bring that foot to the wall. And we'll switch. Bring the left ankle on top of the right knee. Start up high first with the foot up the wall. Let that left hip get some release and some openness. And then we may need to move the foot a little bit down or up, see where you are. This time we will extend the right hand out and turn the head to the right. Connect to the breath. And let's breathe with intention, focus with kindness into this left hip, pelvic floor, piriformis, which is a tiny muscle in the outer hip, but it's so important because it's a pathway for the sciatic nerve. And let's release any tension on the left side of the neck. activating the upper part, the cervical part of the vagus nerve, the cranial nerve number 10 that travels from the brain, wandering down through the shoulder in the front and side of the heart, down into the internal organs in the digestive system. This nerve, it's very good to work with in all different areas to increase our immunity, to increase our breathing capacity, our heart rate, our digestion, and our depression level. We can either be happy or depressed. As we work with the vagus nerve, we can increase serotonin in the body through the brain and through the gut. So we have effects of both serotonin levels being increased. So we get to be more happy. So those neck stretches are very meaningful and very important. There is actually a medical device created for severely depressed people that is implanted into the side of the neck here next to the vagus nerve that pulsates and activates the vagus nerve to release more serotonin in the brain to get those people out of depression instead of doing the shock therapy and other crazy things. So it is really working. It's proven by science, but it's a very old technology of yoga as well. All right, 2 more breaths here. Notice, feel, release, let go, relax. As you inhale, bring the head back to center. And then gently release the leg. Let's bring them up for 3 breaths. Feeling the difference in those legs and hips. And now we'll do something before we move on to the mat. Back off just a little bit off the wall so we can have the legs up in the sky with no support of the hips. And I'm going to shake the legs. Then I'm going to bring the arms up too. And I'm going to shake, shake, shake from the toes to the ankles, to the wrists, elbow and shoulders. The shaking is like a vibration. It's going to move the energy in this opposite direction, opposing gravity, just dropping that stagnant energy down and down and down into the earth. And if you have any cramps, any tightness in your lower legs or even in your thighs or hip flexors, it's a good practice to do before going to bed so you don't get those Charlie horses or leg cramps. It also helps the circulation and the meridian flow in the bladder meridian in the back of the leg and the spleen meridian. All right, great. Let's turn around. So drop the knees to the left. And we'll come on to our mats for a couple more poses before we do Shavasana. So let's come with the right foot forward into a little low lunge. The left knee is on the floor. If you need some cushioning, put your blanket under the left knee. So we have something soft there supporting us. Now our hands will be on the floor in the front or on a block. If you feel like your left hip is really open, you can even drop to your elbows. But make sure you're not forcing here. It's still a gentle stretch, allowing the gravity and the time lapse to take effect. This activates directly our quadriceps muscles, hip flexor, and psoas. On this left side, the psoas, it's a muscle that inserts the third thoracic vertebrae next to the heart. and it travels down through the hip all the way to the knee. So it's a long muscle that is very much responsible for holding a lot of emotion, baggage, luggage from the past. So as we stretch this psoas muscle, we release a lot of stagnation, a lot of stuff that we have not processed. So you may feel a deep emotional release during the practice or after for the next 24 to 48 hours. And that is stagnant negative energy out of your body. So intentionally release here through the out breath. Just feeling whatever comes up, see it, feel it, and let it go. We sometimes don't have time to process whatever comes our way because sometimes it's too much and we get overwhelmed and we cannot process things in the moment. And what happens then, we just store them in the body. The body becomes our memory bank. It becomes the garbage bin, you know. So it is very important to have these practices to release what we store in the body. I call it junk in the trunk. Let's get rid of that junk in the trunk because it's all the way around the hips. In women especially, we hold a lot of stuff in between our hips. We hold babies and then we learn to hold all kinds of other junk too. Not right to hold anything else but babies. So let's release anything that's negative, stressful, all mean, resentments, hate, shame, blame, suppression, everything we suppressed and we have not released can come up. Just let it be released. It's on its way out. Frustration, anger. We sometimes call all those things negative and we shove them down because we feel like we should not experience those things. We feel bad if we do. But we have to learn a way to express them because they are still energies and they need to be expressed. If we don't express them, we repress them and store them, and then they can transfer themselves into a disease process, into a negative emotion that can actually be very not conducive to a healthy lifestyle. So learning how to release, it's very important. And that's what we have yoga for. Because the thing is, we cannot process everything through the mind. Just because we store these things in the body, they have to be released through the body. Sometimes we say like, oh, this doesn't feel right. You know, I don't feel good in this energy. I don't feel good in this house. I don't feel good in this environment. And the thing is, we feel through the body, through the emotions. We don't feel through the mind. The mind is just thinking. It can think, it can imagine, it can create, but it cannot feel. So the sensing, it's somatic, it's in the body. So when something doesn't feel right, you just know, you have that gut feeling. And that is from the body. So we need to trust our bodies and our heart more than our mind, because the thinking can be fake, can be imaginary, can be something that can never be true or real. It's mind created. You can never be true. And the fear comes from the mind. So let's be sure we know how to keep the horses in. Keep the horses. Don't let them run crazy. So let's go ahead and walk back in. Inhale. Walk the hands in gently. And now we're going to stretch a little bit the back of the right leg. Just do the gentle half splits. So just bring the toes towards you. Just feeling that gentle stretch in the back of the leg. Hands are on each side, on your blocks or on the floor. And we'll take a few breaths here. Not very long, just a few. And now we feel those pelvic floor attachments getting a good release and a nice stretch. And the Achilles tendon and everything else in between. We also activate the bladder meridian and the kidney. The adrenals get to benefit as well. All right, my friends, let's switch. So bend that right knee, bring it back. Make sure your right knee is comfortable on that cushion or blanket. And let's bring the left foot forward, coming into that low lunge on this right side. Hands or elbows on the floor or on the block. And find your posture here with a gentle sensation in that right hip, right in front of the hip flexor. You want to feel a sensation, but make sure it's not sensational. That would be too much. And just let that energy flow through the front of this hip into the psoas, all the way from the third thoracic vertebra to your knee, on the inside of the knee. Soften, relax, let go. Surrender. It's okay. You are safe. You are here. You are exploring into your body, communicating and receiving feedback from the body. Receive those long, deep breaths. Have a gentle pause in between. And then exhale, longer exhalation, releasing any stagnation, any negativity from this hip, from this joint, from this body. Liberating this area. Bringing that freedom and that space into your body. Just have a one-on-one conversation with your hip here. How many chances do we get to talk to our body, to actually listen? So we don't need to say much. The body has a lot of feedback to give us. So let's go ahead and use our listening ear and see how the body feels. Where do you need to release? Where do you need to let go? What do you need to do more? And where do you need to surrender? Surrender is hard for humans. We always like to go and do and become and overcome and this and that. It's hard for us to back off and let go and surrender. So let's just practice that. If any negative thoughts come to the mind, make sure you switch them, flip them over, bring the opposite, the antonym of that word. There's always a battle in the mind. And we just become the observer, and when we notice what the mind is doing, we can change it. When you're not observant, the mind becomes the boss, and it can do whatever it wants to do. And it's usually obsessive thinking, negative thinking, circling on the same thought, ruminating on the past, thinking too much of the future. So what happens when we dwell too much in the past? We become depressed. When we go too much into the future, we become anxious. So that means the only place where you can find peace and comfort and full presence is right here, right now, in this present moment. This is when we embody our existence, when we are alive and present into each and every moment of our life. If we live in our mind, we're not really in our life. We're in our mind. If we live in the future, we're also losing the present moment. When we dwell in the past, we lost what's happening right here, right now. And basically, we're wasting our life because this is our life. And life happens in this body, in this moment, right here, right now. So let's go ahead and transition into sliding back a little bit to activate the left hamstring, pelvic floor, those attachments, and the Achilles tendon by simply bringing the toes in towards us. Deepen the breath, exhale, release over that knee, and see how you feel. You need to back off, go ahead. You need to go further, that's great as well. Just find a gentle stretch in the back of this leg. All right, inhale, hands on the floor, bend the knee, bring it in. One last pose just for 2 minutes. We're gonna open the knees apart. We're gonna come down into a frog pose. So we're gonna walk our hands forward and drop the elbows to the floor. Open your knees as wide as you can under your hips, and toes and heels go further out. So you're like a frog. Just like that. This will open a little bit more on both sides, the groin, hip flexors, inner thigh, spleen meridian. Spleen meridian is very good to activate for digestion. We don't only digest food, we digest all kinds of emotions and things we have not processed. So the spleen has a lot of work to do some days. So we're working on this area right now. Good. Breathing into this hip to also the lymphatic system here in the groin that releases all the stagnant, used toxic waste of the body. So we're enhancing this fluid to be released out. Also has a good effect on our sexual organs. All right, it can also be in this other frog pose if you'd like. Just like that. If the other one doesn't work, hands can be on the floor. Okay. 2 more breaths here, just really focusing on this area, all the way from the groin to the knee. And gently walk the feet closer together and then the knees. And we will continue with our last pose of the day, Shavasana. So let's get down on the floor. If you choose to, you can bring the legs back up the wall. If that felt good and you felt like you needed more, you can go back to that position. And we'll just take a few moments here to meditate, to contemplate, to allow all the benefits of our practice to be received and infused into the body. Let the body sink deeply into the floor. Allow your body to become heavy, and all the muscles and joints, tendons, releasing deep into the earth. Soften through the ankles, through the knees, hips and pelvis. Allowing the body to become relaxed, light, and open. Shoulders, front of the neck, back of the neck, and sides of the neck. Release and soften. Let your jaw be relaxed. Muscles of expression releasing. Let go of the crease between the eyebrows and soften the wrinkles on the forehead. Breathe. Use that belly breath again to store a little bit more energy. And imagine you are laying down by the ocean. The ocean waves dance forward and recede, leaving traces of foam in the warm sand. A gentle breeze carries the unmistakable fragrance of the sea, and the sunlit sprinkles the morning waters with diamonds of shimmering white light. The soothing melody of a distant flute and strings seem to emanate from the cool, salty ocean spray. This sound becomes transmitted into your cells. You experience a total release of tension and stress. Your mind and body are invigorated by the nearness of the soothing sounds of the ocean and the warm, calming, nourishing rays of the sun. You experience a total release in the whole body, mind, and spirit. You are at rest. You are at peace. You are one with Mother Nature. Ocean and sky come together in your heart. Experience that. Be in this bliss. Be in this kindness, this warmth. And soak it in. As you breathe in, kissed by the sun, touched by the water waves. Breathe in this energy of life. Feel nourished, nurtured, acknowledged, and loved. Allow this energy of loving kindness and compassion to flow into your heart. And then from your heart out into the world. When our cup is full, we can share with others. When we get filled up, we have something to give. So let's come back to our practice to refuel, to recharge, to fill up our tank so we can have resources to share in the world that needs so much. But do not forget, without us being complete and full, there's nothing we can offer. So let's come back to our practice as often as we can. All right, guys, start to move your fingers and toes, wiggle and stretch. Move those feet, move those hands, and rub them together, create some heat. Slowly and gently turn into your right side. Come on up to a seated position. Whenever you are ready, on your right side or left side. When we come to sit, we'll all get our hands together in prayer again to ourselves. And we'll share whatever we have received. We offer it to the world, to peace and harmony. So if you are seated, let's bring our hands to the heart. Deep breath in, press the palms together in the center of the heart. And as you exhale, let it go and soften. Inhale again. Om. Namo Shivaya. Shanti, Shanti. Peace to all. Namaste. Thank you for joining me today. It was my pleasure and my honor to be with you. Hope to see you again soon.
Thank you so much.
You're very welcome.
I've missed you terribly.
Hope to see you in person someday, guys.
Take care.
You're welcome.
you.
Thank you. Take
Bye.
care.
Be
Bye-bye.
well.
All right, my dear friends. Awesome.